anybody can compete with you on anything, right? In any business or any industry, but nobody can compete with you on culture. It's something that
Mm-hmm.
you own. You want to be average Joe, you can't work here. It's just, you're not going to fit with like the high performers up in the front. Like we have SOPs, even like our supporting staff, like our valets, everybody has an SOP. And that SOP ties into process.
You're listening to the Limitless Leadership Podcast, the podcast designed to help automotive repair shops learn how to lead, coach, train, and manage their team better by sharing proven techniques and thought-provoking interviews from industry leaders. Are you ready to transform your leadership skills by tapping into unrecognized potential to achieve limitless results? Let's get ready for liftoff. It's time to go from great to greater. Here's today's episode.
All right, folks, as you know, great leadership isn't about doing everything the best. It's actually about having the right partners in your corner to build your shop's success. It's about putting the right team in place. It's about choosing the right vendors to make you a pro, making pro moves. And when I think about the pros, I think about shop marketing pros. The know, like, and trust factor, that's a real thing. And Shop Marketing Pros understands that. That's why I want to recommend Shop Marketing Pros to become your marketing partner in your shop. They get to know, like, and trust you and your business to then help your audience get to know, like, and trust you too, and bring your shop to the next level. So when I talk about making pro moves, this is the kind of move I'm talking about. This is the kind of standard-setting partnership that's going to elevate your shop. So if you're ready to become a pro in your shop, visit shopmarketingpros.com and partner with the best. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Limitless Leadership Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Parnell. And before we get started, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, do all the things you need to on social media to help this podcast reach people and build more leaders like the one I'm joined by today. Our guest today is on the board for Women in Auto Care. She's also on the Silicon Valley Chamber Board. She's a shop owner. She's also a speaker and trainer at this year's Ratchet and Wrench Management Conference held in Glendale, Arizona, October 8th through the 10th. Be there if you want to be with all the cool kids. One of the cool kids I'm talking about is our guest today. That is Michelle Tansey. Michelle, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I'm excited too, Michelle. You and I, we got to know each other. We introduced each other via Zoom maybe a year or so ago, and since then we've followed each other on social media. I see you are a busy woman, but busy but productive. That's the key. There's a difference between being busy and being productive, and I see you doing a lot of great things, making a lot of great strides in the industry, and truly an industry advocate. So I want to thank you on behalf of all of us in the industry for the job that you do and the work that you do. But I'll let you share exactly what that is. So if you would, share with the audience who you are, what you do, and how you do it.
Well, I mean, I try to say that I'm human first more than anything, right? But I tried to say I'm a shop owner. I'm involved heavily in my industry. It was something that I hold dear to heart. Women in auto care is something that I'm super passionate about. We're heavily involved with Auto Care Association itself too. Involved locally with my Chamber of Commerce. I sit on a couple committees. I am chair of workforce with Silicon Valley. I have a passion for new generations coming into the workforce. I sit with women in business as well locally. But a lot of it is, we just became main sponsors for female sports locally here with 49ers Cow High Sports. So, and we also do scholarships for them as well. Me and B are big on the way we run our teams. We're big sports people, so we use a lot of sports analogies, and we played local sports here in the Bay Area ourselves too. So it was kind of like a full circle for us to start getting involved as well. So I think I always say, I get a lot of credit for not doing much, but people think we're extraordinary in the stuff that we do, but I just feel like we are ordinary people that try to do for our industry. And I think that we just get a lot of credit for it, but I just try to be involved and be of service in anything that I can.
Michelle, first, thanks for sharing all that. I love hearing what you just described. And I firmly believe in the concept of just showing up, like just being present for your community, for your team. And ultimately you can say something to the effect of like, I get a lot of credit for not doing much, but there is so much involved in just simply showing up. That is, for a lot of people, the biggest and best thing you can do for them is just simply showing up. And I see you doing that. And I see you saying yes to a lot of people and a lot of things as a friend, and also as a leadership coach. My encouragement is like, I hope you're saying yes to yourself as well, because we can find ourselves pouring from an empty cup if we're not careful. But I love the work that you do. I love the fact that you are such an industry advocate for people who may not know how to show up the way that you do, or people who may not feel like they have a voice the way that you do. And I think it's important that we can model for our community, for our team members, for our family, what it looks like to show up, to listen, to be there for folks, to speak up. You know, I mentioned that you're a speaker and trainer at this year's Ratchet and Wrench Management Conference in Glendale, Arizona. One of the topics that you'll be touching on heavily is building a strong team culture. And the title is actually Building a Strong Team Culture, How You've Built and Maintained a High-Performing Team. And what I'm going to ask you to do is share with our audience what they can expect to get from your session at Ratchet and Wrench in terms of building a strong team culture. Hey folks, running an auto repair shop, it's tough. We know that. And between managing repairs, keeping customers happy, and handling front office tasks, there's never enough time in the day. That's where Hub Shop Solutions comes in. Hub takes the burden off your team by building fast, accurate repair estimates and handling extended warranties, so you can focus on what really matters, running a profitable, efficient shop. With Hub, you free up your team, you boost efficiency, and you increase profits. So sign up now and get free onboarding. Visit hubshopsolutions.com to schedule a demo today. Hub Shop Solutions. Unlock your shop's full potential.
What I will be teaching is how I built a strong team and how I retained it for so long. I had the biggest retention at one point. That team held about 6+ years, and I had maintained that retention for a very long time. And starting this year, we broke that team up. Currently, right now, my longest retention is 120 days, aside from management and director of people that have been up here with us plus 2 years. And it was crazy because we did kickoff at the beginning of the year in January, and we were sitting there and industry friends like spoke to my team. I had Jonathan Ortiz. He's very popular in our industry. He owns Foreign Affairs out in West Palm Beach. He's a great speaker and advocate of the industry as well. And I reached out to him because he has such a way with words and analogy and way to pour into team, and big advocate of team culture. And I said, I want you to pour into these guys. And he said, of course, he's one of those people that you always at your service, whatever I could do. And he spoke to my team for like about an hour and a half about like what it means to be a team player in your team, what it means to be a high performer, and what standards and expectations come with that. And kickoff was awesome. It was like rah, rah, rah for everybody. We were sitting there after we hosted a dinner, a happy hour, and I sat there with my leadership team and I looked and I said, I have a feeling that half of these people won't be with us by December. And it was like a domino effect, and like every other month we started losing people. And I think our hardest decision to start letting people off the bus was when I met with my coach, Mike DeFato. If you're listening to this, he's been the guy that I always give him shit, because he was the one that always hurt my feelings. But, every single segment of like my growth as a shop owner since he's been around, first he told me, sorry to tell you, you want to hire all these people, but like, you're not even that attractive to try to hire these cool people. You got to become attractive enough to hire. So I was like, damn, here I thought I was cool, but I guess I'm not that cool, right? I gotta go become attractive. And when he told me, he goes like, hey, you read this book. I think you're good, but in order to go from good to great, you got to have the right people, right? And it was a big revelation to know. It's the team that got you like to 2 mil is not the team that's going to get you to 4 mil.
Yeah.
And, when we had to get rid of our top performer, we had a technician that was giving us like 300 hours. Dude, he was a beast. No minimal comebacks, beast mode. And just the mindset wasn't there anymore. And, I met with B, and, B's like the technician. He's like the production guy. And he says, you're crazy. Like, we can't afford to do that. And I said, B, we have to get him off the bus. He's not one that's going to take us there. And I would rather sacrifice profit right now, get him off. Let's get the right people. It's not even about making money anymore. It's okay for us to sacrifice this right now. We got to think long term, right? Like, we have to see that. But that was the hardest decision. It's learning as a shop owner, as an operator, is learning that you have to make those decisions and you have to make them quick in order to get the right people. Because I believe that if you have high performers in every sector of your business, they kind of manage themselves, right? It's like they hold each other accountable.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. If you've listened to this podcast before, you've likely heard the slogan, people plus process equal profit. Mm-hmm. And I'm very mindful of that phrase because it is the people before the process. It's the people before the profit. It's the connection before the content. When you have the right people on the bus and you're getting the wrong people off the bus, the profit's going to come, and it's going to come significantly easier than if you're trying to force a square peg into a round hole. I mean, it's almost like you're so mindful of the profit, which I get it. I mean, like, you're mindful of performance. Like, as a shop owner, you want to increase performance. You want to drive sales, and you're mindful of the KPIs that drive those sales. But when we can actually shift our focus from the profit onto the people, and remember that connection is what creates engagement, and engagement is what increases performance. Performance does become somewhat of a byproduct of serving your people, taking care of your people, making sure that your people are coachable, have the right level of emotional intelligence and the right attitude to drive a culture forward. Michelle, when you think of the word culture and the importance of culture in building a team, what are the first 2 or 3 steps that I, as a potential shop owner, would need to be focused on to create the culture that's conducive to a winning environment?
I think one of the biggest things I always say is people first, right? You got to make sure that your people are happy. And a lot of the times I've had deep conversations with my tribe members and my coach. It's not even about the money when it comes to high performers. And that's one of the biggest things I think shop owners need to realize. It's not even about the money, especially with technicians, right? If you can pay them, my highest paid technician right now is making $65 an hour. And they shouldn't cost you money if they're performers. So off the bat, that we were going to leave that off the table, right? Mm-hmm. It's other things. It's environment. Are they being heard? Right? It's who you have up in the front. It's like stuff like it's like dumb stuff that we don't even think about. We call it dumb stuff, but to them it's important, right?
Yeah.
Do they have the ability to map out their day? Do I have a say on my promise times? Who's handling my parts? Because they're high performers. Like, they want to stay in their bay. And it's the ability for them to have a voice. That's what drives culture. Like, I'm in Silicon Valley, right? I'm in the heart of Silicon Valley. So I do all that corporate stuff. I have the snacks. I have the Gatorades. I have the Red Bulls. I have like the cold brew. Like, these guys have like an espresso machine in their break room, right? Like, we do all of that stuff just because, like, my area, my demographics, like, that's the cool stuff. Like, or like the cool kids here. Like, they got like monthly happy hours. Like, that's the culture here in my area. But they don't care about all that stuff, man. Like, to them, it's when we ask, like, dude, what's going on? It's keeping them happy. It's what's going to drive performance. And then it's super weird because even like they're new. And then you start noticing that the high level skill guy understands that he has leadership.
Yeah.
Randomly. He knows I'm in a position of leadership. Nobody told him. And then the bottom guy, the apprentice, knows this guy is in a position of leadership. And they kind of check each other. Mm-hmm. But it just comes with mindset. It's setting the standard right up front. And for me, that's something that I have refused since January when I did kickoff, was something that I committed myself to. And that's something that I taught them. I gave them 5 core values that I said accountability was going to be number one. Taking action from anything was going to be second. Commitment to excellence, being human first, and then being awesome. Those were my 5 core values I gave these people. And then I told B, it was like a domino effect. It was like, I don't think it's hard, right? But then I told B, I refuse to lower my standards and my expectations.
Love
Because
that.
if we don't believe in them, like, why should them?
Yeah. That's so good. I love the fact that you're laying the groundwork. You creating a firm foundation that your core values are rooted in, and so any decision that doesn't line up with your core values, then a decision is already made. Like if this decision that needs to be made does not line up with the core values, then the decision is made, and you're refusing to accept mediocrity or anything less than excellence, because the way we do anything is the way we do everything. And if you've determined these are my 5 core values, they're not just hanging on the wall here. We live these things. And it's one of those things. I mean, it's going to sound brash, and I wouldn't say this bluntly, but it's one of those things where it's like shape up or ship out. And because if you're not going to live by these core values with us, then you're choosing to live below the standards in which we operate, and that's unacceptable here.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll share it. And a lot of people, it's funny because we just hosted Porsche, and I had a lot of local shop owners come, and they think I'm super nice that I allow them to come to the shop because they think we're competitors. And I said, like, listen, when we became shop owners, I wasn't really received very nicely around my competitors in my area. I thought that people were just nice, like, come in, check my operation. And I've always promised myself that I wasn't always this big, right? I was the little guy, and when I always promised myself because I always knew when I become big, I'm going to open my doors. I hosted a chamber mixer, and I opened up my doors to a bunch of other businesses, local entrepreneurs around here. And there was a few shop owners that came, and you can tell they were small because they still wear their uniforms. They're working. They're still working in their shop. And I introduced myself, and they go, "Oh, I don't do Euro." And I said, "Hey, no problem. Even if you do Euro, dude, come meet my manager. Go ahead, walk in the facility. My casa, tu casa. Grab a drink." And it's one of those things where for me it's very important to say, like, it's not even about competition anymore. It's a compete with me with service. Treat your employees well, right? It's not about the selfishness of like not allowing people to come see. It's there's enough cars to go around, bro. Like,
there's plenty. Exactly. Yeah, it's an abundance mentality versus a scarcity mentality. I love that you're sharing this. I believe wholeheartedly in exactly what you're sharing. I mean, ultimately, you cannot duplicate or replicate my culture. Like that. That's what I would say. It's like, and that's even with guests. Like if I own a shop, once I get you, I've got you. Meaning, once I get a guest in, I've got that guest because I know that my culture is rooted in the core values and the vision that I've cast with clarity and direction and the mission driving towards that vision, where it just feels different. You're not a number here. You're not even a customer here. You're a guest. It feels like you're a guest in my home when you come to this shop. And that's a culture thing that is often intangible at first, and it becomes a tangible. And so I love the fact that you're exercising that mindset of abundance versus scarcity. I'll touch on something you mentioned. Oh, good.
It's like my friend Jonathan Ortiz is something I met him years ago at Ratchet Wrench. So it's like a full circle for us with the whole Ratchet Wrench situation too. Or even me teaching at Ratchet Wrench. It was like one of the first conferences I ever attended, was one of the free magazines we subscribed to, right? So it's like a full circle for me to be teaching this year. But he always said, anybody can compete with you on anything, right? In any business or any industry, but nobody can compete with you on culture. It's something that you own. It's something that's rooted, that is theirs. And pour that into your team because it belongs to them. They're the ones that can control that.
Yeah.
It doesn't even belong to you as a shop owner. It belongs to them because they're the ones that live it, that breathe it. They're the ones that like own it.
Well, and you said something earlier that kind of drives home what you're describing. That is, like, once you believe in it, like belief, like when you have a belief in something, it builds more confidence in something, and ultimately it turns into this conviction. When you believe in something, you stand on your convictions, and other people start to believe and buy into what you're sharing. So it kind of just becomes a beast of its own, where it's like you can start something, but ultimately you're infectious. We can either or you're contagious rather. You can either infect or you can affect. But in this case, you're going to affect change in a positive way because you are infectious. And that's the way that it should be. Ultimately, if you're standing on your core values, because core is Latin for heart, it's
Mm-hmm.
coming from within. Like this is a belief that I'm convicted in, then it can't be anyone but yours. And it becomes your team's. Earlier, you mentioned the importance of feeling heard. And as a leadership coach, Michelle, I am all about the soft skills and effective communication and time management and delegation and really helping people feel understood. I believe that as long as our team members understand this concept, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, which allows them to know and further believe in the fact that they have a voice here, their opinions matter, and their ideas are considered. If we can hit those three things with team members, I would bet my house that your team member retention is going to increase as
Yeah,
long as your team members'
100%.
voices are heard, their opinions matter, their ideas are considered. Because money or compensation is not often at the top of anyone's list. In fact, it barely cracks the top three if we're looking at statistics across
100%.
the internet.
100%.
So let me ask you this, Michelle, because what we're describing is a different style of leadership in regards to influencing and developing and
I
growing
call it
people.
the modern way of leading.
When did this change? Because I have my opinion on when this changed, but when did this change? Like when did it become modern?
I think for me, it's probably like a decade ago. It
Okay.
became those like modern. I used to be in law enforcement, and when I came into law enforcement was I don't know, or mid 2000s. They had a shift that they started calling modern policing. They were bringing
Okay.
more diversity, more women. They wanted to make cops more likable, right?
Mm.
So
Hmm.
they were shifting society's perspective of policemen and women, right?
Hmm.
So I look at leadership the same way. Managers were very like more dictatorship,
Yeah, I was waiting for that word. Yeah.
task oriented, what I call like people that just you do this, delegators and all this other
Hmm.
stuff, right? Leadership is more setting the tone to influence your team to do something and be support. I kind of look at it like that and pay attention to stuff, right? Body language is big for me. Like yesterday, I did check ins with all the technicians and I don't run day to day anymore, but I believe I am the heart of my company. And the goal is to go multi shop one day. I don't know how that looks yet. To me, that is the goal, but I want to continue to still be the heart, right? I used to run
Hmm.
day to day. I hired a GM. He runs day to day operations, but I still do my pop ins. And I have a brand new team. So they're not used to seeing me there. And I sat in the check ins with them and they were like, holy crap, boss lady's here.
Yeah.
What's going on? And I say my little 2 cents, right, where I need to, but you can tell they're shocked that I know personal stuff.
Mm.
But I make it my business to know a little bit about them, but I use that influence to influence them motivation, right? Like I have a gentleman who we can tell he could be faster, right? That he can perform a little bit, but he is struggling with a little bit of an hourly mentality. And I don't blame him. I blame his past environment,
Sure.
right?
Hmm.
But he has a family, and I met his beautiful family because they came to our Porsche event, and we had a lot of people there. But I think he thought, "Oh, bus lady, she's not paying attention. They're super busy, like whatever." And I'm not part of day to day. But I introduced myself. I saw the kids and whatever. So I kind of told him, "Hey." And then I heard from the director of people that he had to get rid of like his big SUV because he took this job and he wasn't making money at the competitor shop and all this other stuff. So when we were started talking, I told him he said something, and I told they're speaking, and I just before we left, I said, "Hey, I just want to touch on one thing. You said this. I noticed you said this," and I touched and I said, I never want to hear that anybody that's employed under my organization making the type of money that you could possibly make here with the skill set that you have, that you're taking the bus to work or sharing a car with your family and you have these beautiful kids living in the economy that we live in with the resources that this organization has, is struggling the way that you do. So you have to, it's now on you to take advantage of the resources that we offer, take advantage of this foreman here, this GM, and even me. I have an open door policy. Message me. How can we help you perform better? Because fuck your time card, dude. Like fuck those 80 hours at 45. Like you could be making 90 hours at 50. Let's shoot for that. Right? And he was like, and it was funny because then later on he emailed me. I don't think he even knew my email, but he emailed me. He said, like, thank you so much. What you said, I was talking to my wife. And I forwarded that to the manager, like my GM, and I said, this is what we need to do. Touch him. He doesn't care about his freaking numbers and the other crap. Like, that's cool. But the way you end is with something human. There has to be a human touch.
I can tell you that the biggest game changer for at least 8 different clients have reached out and shared this with us, and that is the introduction and the implementations of one-on-ones into our business has been a game changer, because ultimately we're creating this sense of connection. And I'll say it again, connection is what creates engagement, and engagement is what increases performance. This is important because statistically speaking, 70% of employees are disengaged at work because they don't feel seen, they don't feel heard, they don't feel valued. Because prior to modern policing and modern leadership and all these modern whatever comes after that, it's very much of a positional style of leadership. It's a dictator style of leadership. So I was in the Air Force. So some of you might call it the chair force, but it's still military. And I know that same thing in the police force, where it's positional. Like, as if someone outranks you, then they're going to just tell you through directive after directive after directive what needs to get done. But that doesn't mean that you're providing clarity and direction. And you can provide direction through showing up and asking questions and listening and creating the safety and trust that you talked about to then provide the clarity and direction that they deserve. So I commend you for recognizing how it should be a people first mentality. It's a people before process and people before profit. And the cool thing is that individual that you're referencing or that you're referring to, you're showing him how it's different here, how you as his leader shows up for him, how he does, I would assume, feel a sense of safety now, and he can trust you more. Therefore, when you provide directive or direction, whichever way you want to spin it, it's clarity and direction that he needs and he deserves. And ultimately, he's going to feel comfortable opening up to you and reaching out to you and exercising those resources. Because here's the thing. I love that you touched on this. There's an abundance of resources out there. But just because we have the resources doesn't mean that we're always resourceful. And this gives us an opportunity to be resourceful with the resources that you're putting in front of your team members each and every day. So I want to commend you for the fact that that's one part of how you're creating this culture in your shop. I'm excited to be at your session, Michelle. So I'll be there at the Ratchet and Wrench Conference. Again, it's in Glendale, Arizona, October 8th through the 10th. You and I don't know if we're speaking on the same day or different days, but I know that we're not speaking at the same time. So I will be in your session. Nice. If you're okay with that. I mean, and so
of course.
I'm
nervous. Crap.
No, hey, you're gonna do amazing. I love learning from folks, and I love to learn from you. I do want to read the title of your. I shared the title of your session, but I want to read the course description if you don't mind, and feel free to elaborate on it afterwards after I share it. But the course description it says creating a strong team culture goes beyond hiring skilled technicians. It's about building an environment where employees feel valued and aligned with your shop's vision. This session covers 6 key areas: hiring for cultural fit, effective onboarding, strong leadership and communication, accountability systems, promoting work-life balance, and team building activities. Together, these elements boost engagement, trust, and retention, helping your shop become a place where top talent thrives and teamwork drives long-term success. Touch on or elaborate on, pick one of those key areas and tell me, what can I expect if I attend this session?
Let me see. That's a lot. Let me see. Pick one. You pick one.
I'll say it again. Hiring for cultural fit, effective onboarding, strong leadership and communication, accountability systems, promoting work-life balance, and team building activities. Here's the one I pick.
Let's
Oh, go ahead. No, you tell me.
let's do hiring for cultural fit, because
Okay.
that's one that we are currently been working on the last like 6 months.
Sweet. Okay.
Hiring for cultural fit, I always feel like as shop owners, we're always struggling because the majority of us don't have a bench, right? And we're always going like we're just hiring, and we're just thinking like, well, this guy's great, and especially with technicians because there's such a shortage.
Yeah.
And we're like, he sounds great, and it's a waste of money sometimes too to onboard them properly if you're doing things the right way, right? Hiring for cultural fit for me, it's like you have to make sure not everybody, you're not just like I look at it the same way as clients. I'm not every client for me, I'm the right shop for them. Especially I'm really expensive, right? I run very boutique level style. I'm only about 30% cheaper than the Porsche dealership down the street's $450 an hour. I'm only about 30% cheaper. That just to tell you.
Sure.
Off the bat, right? So just like for any client, I'm not the proper level of service, right? So I'm also not the right fit for an employee. So to me, if you're the type of employee that wants to come and cruise and you just want to make $50 an hour, I want to clock in. I want to clock in my 80 hours, 88 hours, depending on how long the period is. And I'm okay with making that. And I'm cool being basic. We're not the culture fit for you. Like literally, one of our things that we have that we used to say a lot is that we reject average here. You want to be average Joe, you can't work here.
Yeah.
It's just, you're not going to fit with like the high performers up in the front. Like our sales team is not going to be okay with you not pushing work out. And the technicians are not going to be okay with you not being able to sell the stuff up in the front. Right. So it's like a culture fit with, you can't have a high performer and a low performer and expect them to have the right mindset and get along.
Yeah, that's a good point. So I believe in hiring your CIA team members, people who are coachable, intelligent, and that's emotional intelligence, and then attitude, having the right attitude. When you hire a CIA team member, to me, that's a recipe for success. I'll ask you, Michelle, how do you ensure that you're hiring a high-performing team member? And here's why I'm asking. On paper, I mean, anyone can look great. How do you, are there certain questions that you ask in the interview process? Do you actually have them do some kind of practical application at all, performance-based testing? How do you ensure that?
I have one. I normally do it. My director of people screens resumes. And normally if a technician has a really good resume, you kind of know they're not really good. My best technicians don't have really good resumes. That's just historically, I don't know why. They don't have really good resumes. I do a 15-minute like Zoom with some, and that's even service advisors, anybody. I tend to be the one that does a 15-minute Zoom. I know within like 2 minutes if you're going to fit with our culture. My first question is, I do a little introduction on me, who I am. And then I literally just ask, tell me a little bit about yourself. And the people that have made it really far with us, even within our company, are the people that understand the assignment, right? They tell me, well, my name is this. I'm a dad. My fun time, I do this. And they start telling me all this stuff. They don't even tell me anything about what they do.
Yeah, like
The
work-wise?
ones that I already know is when they tell me, they start talking about like how much they hate their boss and like they're the best technician in the world. And to me, it's like, if you're the greatest technician in the world, nobody has to tell you that they're the greatest technician in the world.
Yeah.
Right. And just because of shortage with technicians, we always invite you into. But when they tell you that, you're not going to regret ever hiring me, like attitude wise, you're not going to mesh. Right. This isn't like you can't be successful. You can't be the best and the most successful guy. It is a team effort at the end of the day. It's a team effort.
It's funny. I mean, if you got someone coming in talking to their potential future boss, letting you know how much they don't like their existing boss, That's a red flag if I ever heard one. I mean, that's
One of the biggest things, Josh, is like you didn't even practice active listening. I asked, tell me a little bit about yourself. Why are you telling me about your boss? Like,
yeah, yeah.
you know, and a lot of the things for us too, like I run in a very heavy process type of systematic
Mm-hmm.
way. Like we have SOPs, even like our supporting staff, like our valets, everybody has an SOP. And that SOP ties into process.
Mm-hmm.
Like from a waiter process to like check-in, we call it key to key, right? Like there's a process for everything. So I find it disrespectful when like people don't read their SOPs. I call it, it's part of your role to even work here. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're like the godless, like master technician of like all times. Like you have to read the SOP. This isn't just about like changing a water pump and like
Mm-hmm.
rebuilding a transmission. Like we have a process here that you need to follow.
The
It's
fact
not
that
just
you,
putting it in the car.
yeah, no, well, the fact that you have SOPs for everything is a massive win. You may not be surprised by this, but I'm still sometimes surprised by the fact that there's a lot of shops that don't use any SOPs, and there's a massive opportunity that's not being captured when that's the case, because you're not putting systems in place for accountability and for efficiency and effectiveness and the productivity as well. So I love the fact
That's
that you
actually
have.
part of my class too, right? Like
Oh, okay.
how do you
Yep.
expect high performing teams if you're not giving them a system and a process?
We cannot get upset with our team members who don't meet expectations that we didn't clearly
100%.
communicate, right?
Hmm.
So I'll say this first. Thanks for this episode, Michelle. This was a great conversation. You laid a lot of great nuggets out here that I know we're going to get way more at your session at Ratchet and Wrench. So if you're listening and you're on the fence about attending Ratchet and Wrench, surely this episode gets you over the fence. My hope is that you're able to come out and see Michelle deliver this amazing presentation. My final question to you, though, Michelle, is what is the best advice that you've ever received from a coach or a mentor?
This is always a hard question. There's a lot. There's a lot of cool
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But I think I would say my first coach was Dave Marker. Um, I think when Dave Marker already retired from his coaching career, he was big in our industry too, and he told me that don't get lost in the abundance of all these margins, and to remember to on top of everything to always lead with kindness at
Mm,
the end of the day.
yeah.
And we could never lose on anything if you could be direct, you can set expectations, and you
Mm-hmm.
could like be a hard, but as long as you lead with kindness, we could never lose.
What a perfect way to end this episode. Could not agree more. It costs nothing to be kind. And there's a fine line between love and accountability, and holding people accountable is actually a form of love. So I like the fact that you led, or that you ended with the concept of always being kind. Well, hey, it was so kind of you to be here, Michelle. Thanks for joining us on the
Thank you
podcast.
so much.
Looking forward to seeing you here in a few weeks at the Ratchet and Wrench conference. And thank you, everyone, for being here. As you know, every episode we look to transform our leadership skills by tapping into unrecognized potential to achieve limitless results. So thanks again for being here. Don't forget to smile today. Tell your loved ones how much they mean to you. I'm Josh Parnell, reminding you to keep leading well.